spare assemblies that has come off of one of the Toros. It was, all the rope was hanging out, and when I took it off, some of the rope it got sucked back in, and when I was cleaning my bench off, a little bit more was getting pulled back in. So let's take this thing apart, see what we got going on, see if we just need to lubricate it or if there's actually something broken in here. This screw right here, that is reverse threads. I'm thinking that maybe the spring is broke, because right there, I don't know if you can see it, is a slot to where the tail of the spring is supposed to hook into, I do believe. In most cases, most of them do, but maybe that's the problem. The tail broke off, so if that's the case, we would need a new assembly. Just take everything apart carefully. And go ahead and tie ourselves a little knot here so we can take the handle off here. And I am going to show you a little easier way to wind one of these up. I don't know why I didn't do that the last time. I guess I just got stuck into my old habits. I forgot that I learned something different. Go ahead and melt that now. So it will unravel on us a little bit later. It's a little better to use leather gloves, but I'm hard-headed. See if we can get this to wiggle apart without springing the spring all to pieces. Which I'm not sure we're going to get that lucky. Yeah, there we go. We did all right. Okay, so lose your starter poles. You don't want to lose those. So what it looks like happened here is that end of the spring that I was telling you about is right there. And it has come out of its pocket. And if I remember right, those are supposed to be bent around a little bit more, but I might be wrong. So we're going to try to carefully get this back into its spot. And then we're going to kind of blow the rust out of here, and then we're going to lubricate that spring. And hopefully everything will be all right after that. Nothing's actually broke. And then the inner part of this spring, that locks into this slot here, right there. So we'll give that a blow down. It usually gets a little bit of grease right on this section here, like It's like an axle, so just smear a little bit of grease on there. You don't need a lot. Put some on your finger and just smear it around there. Don't goop it. Excuse me. So I'm going to try to pinch this together so that it will hold. And I'm going to use these pliers because with these pliers I can adjust my gap. With these pliers I can't, so when you open them up you end up with basically a wedge shape. And sometimes that's not good for all applications. With this I can actually adjust my gap, so I've always got a straight jaw all the time. And then we'll take the whole spring out without it springing all the bits on me. I'll move that around to the slot there, and we can kind of let this spring relax a bit. So far we've gotten lucky on this. I'm going to take and blow this stuff out of here a little bit. I still think that is supposed to be hooked around a little bit more. Now the problem with that is these springs are hardened, and too much bending on it just causes the end up to break right off. So the first one or two I did, that's what happened. So what I have done in the past is heated that to anneal it, which makes it softer for you, so it'll bend around with less chances of it breaking off. We're going to leave it like it is to see what happens. Because I'm not positive how this is set up. I'm just going by what most of them would do. I don't know, I'll still wait. Now I'm going to grab it with these channel locks to kind of lock everything into place while I actually work on it. There. So I've got it held together, so it shouldn't come springing apart on me. And I'm going to work on trying to get this wrapped around more so that it hooks into here. Because if you take a look, it might be hard for you guys to see, but right back, let's see, right there, if you notice, there's a rust on the inside there to where it looks like they came around and hooked around like so. So that's what's making me think that this actually looped around more than what it is right now. There's a little tab right there, a hole there, and a little tab under there to where this can lock together. I'm not going to try that. Let's see if we can get this bent around a little bit more. All right, so what I'm going to do, set you up here. I think you'll be able to see a little better up there. All right, think that'll work. What we're going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to curl that around with a pair of needle nose pliers. So heating it up will make it soft so that I can bend it, and then I'll take and dip it in some burnt oil and let it cool down in that, and that should bring that strength right back into it. Something I've done before a few times. It seems to work. I think that'll work. I'll go ahead and heat this up one more time. Dip it in the oil. And that should re-harden it for me. Okie dokie. There we go. That looks pretty good. All right, that's in there now. And some You know, if I could save somebody a few bucks on doing something like that, I will. The biggest thing is, what little bit of labor it took to do that, it may not really saved any. But if I had to order that, now they got to wait for it. So now, you know, you weigh the odds out of paying a couple extra bucks in labor to get this done and be able to send it out now, or wait anywhere from 3 to 5 days, or maybe even longer if this thing's on back order or not, to get this thing and then put back together. So you just have to weigh things out. And to me, that was a benefit doing what I did. This thing is all well lubricated now because I dipped the whole thing in the oil when I cooled it back down. So we don't have to spray it again. We'll set this thing back in its place. And then we have to, on the center hook here, we have to make sure it lines up with that slot in here. And I may need a screwdriver or something. There we are. Make sure you leave that tail out. You're going to need that like that, because I'm going to show you a different way to wind this up. It'd be a lot easier than it was the last time. Put your little starter pawls back in. Put your spring back in here, like so. And then set your little piece on top. So these little tabs on top of the starter pawls, there's little tips there. They've got to line up in these little grooves here. So just make sure they do that. So basically this part here and there needs to go over top of your starter pawls. And then when you do rotate it one way or the other, you'll see them kick out. You know you got it good. And you just put your set your screw back on top of that. Snug it down. Remember, it's reverse threads. Well, there we go. Just make sure everything works right. Okay, so now we have to preload the spring. So the rope is already wrapped all the way around here, and just leave it sticking out a little bit like that. You can just take that and run it around. Some of these pulleys for the rope have a notch in them so that it can fit around here and do what I'm trying to do. Some do not. And if you give that a wrap or two, That should be enough preload. Get in there. And just give that a little test. So, that seems to be plenty of preload. We'll tie our little knot in here. Let that rest against there. And we can tie our handle back on. And that is the easiest way to do these. That's what I should have done in the that video where I had to repair a starter a couple of videos ago. That's what I should have done. But like I said, I got into my old habits and what I used to do. I just completely forgot about doing it that way. It's so much easier. There we go. Everything seems to be working. All right. So there's how we repaired the starter assembly on this. We got our tab bent around more because it had straightened out some, causing it to pop out. So I showed you how we heat that up, bend it around, and then cool it down in the oil, which should bring the strength back into it. And how to take this apart, put it back together. Everything's good to go. Everything works nice and proper like it should. And so everything should be good to go there. Appreciate you stopping by and checking out my channel. Give me a thumbs up. Subscribe, leave some comments. Be kind and help people when you can.